The Montreal Canadiens drop another 2 crucial points against the Buffalo Sabres. We'll tell you who is good, who is bad, and we'll jump into our mailbag where we assure you the officiating is always bad.
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for making us your first list of the day, for subscribing wherever you get your podcast, doing that supports us here on the show and ensures you don't miss an episode, and for making us here at Locked On, the #1 sports podcast network. We do love saying that. My name is Ian Boisvert, also known as Maybe It's Ian. I'm joined, as I always am, by Laura Saba, also known as the Actor Stick. Laura, if we only played 25 minutes of this show, you'd feel like you were still getting a whole bunch of good stuff out of it, right? Like, that's still a good program. But if you're in the NHL and you play only 25 minutes, you probably shouldn't win. And yet that's where the Buffalo Sabres found themselves after this game in Montreal. How are you feeling after that very frustrating loss?
It was a winnable game. The Montreal Canadiens did not show up on time, and it was a very winnable game. They're giving away points in the division to the hottest team. I don't know if it's the hottest team in the NHL, the hottest team in the division. It's just a very hot team right now. And the Canadiens might find themselves in true danger if they continue to behave like this against divisional opponents.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo only sits 2 points back of the Canadiens with games in hand. They play each other one more time this season, and it'll come next week before the Olympic break. So Montreal is going to have to figure out how to play a complete game against this Buffalo Sabres team. It has been frustrating to say the least against that team. So we'll cover that game. We'll talk about who was good, who we liked, who we didn't. Then we're going to jump into our mailbag. It's Friday. We have questions from you, our lovely listener, and we'll dive into those. You guys always show up with those, and we love hearing what you guys have to say. Always some very fun times in our mailbag. All right, let's start with the positive in this one. And this is a guy that I am, in my own admission, unfairly critical of this player. That was one of Zachary Bolduc's best games as a Montreal Canadien.
It might have been his best game as a Montreal Canadien. Now, there was one there where he scored 2 goals. I just really liked him all over the ice this time.
Yeah, according to Arpin Basu, his assist on Nick Suzuki's goal, which was the second goal of the game for the Canadiens, that was Bolduc's second point of the year 2026. We are now, 22 days, 23 days into the year. It's been a tough go for him, which is why I think seeing him play the way he did in that game was impactful, right? It was nice to see. It was encouraging, especially because he was doing it in a lower line situation. However, on his assist, Marty must have been playing a hunch, or maybe Kirby Dach was having some kind of equipment issue. Not sure what was happening, but we come back out of a commercial break, and the first line is Nick Suzuki, Caufield, and Zachary Bolduc, which by the time you had recognized that was happening, Zachary Bolduc had picked off a puck, was coming in on a breakaway, got a shot, and Suzuki scored on the rebound. I hope Marty doesn't take that as we should do that more often, because I don't think that that's going to play out the way that it should. But I do think that, giving him that moment, it maybe caught the Sabres off guard a little bit. They weren't expecting that matchup. If it was purely a coaching decision, a pretty neat one for Marty that ends up working out. Let's shift gears here to what we didn't like, the power play. Not only did it not, it was a -1 on the night. They gave up a shorthanded goal on their first power play, or maybe it was their second power play. It was awful. I know I saw a lot of people blaming Dobson for that, and I understand. He gets beat to the outside. It's a one-on-one. He's at the end of a shift. He's trying to just keep Malenstein to the outside. He makes a great move. He moves with a lot of speed towards the net. I think people are really tough on Dobson, which is, I guess, fair given the price tag, both cap hit and asset-wise. But the power play in general, I think, needs to just spend an entire practice working together.
It's a systemic issue. It wasn't a Dobson issue. Like, he was the one that was kind of a victim of the systemic problem with this power play. I don't disagree with you. I just wonder when they can do it. A lot of their key power play players are going to be overseas. So I don't think they can make them play during the Olympic break. I can't remember that. I feel like they can't force them to practice. So it would be optional, if that. And I would imagine that some of these guys want to take a break and go away. But I don't know when they're going to practice.
Yeah, I mean, and it stinks that they're traveling to Boston Saturday. I think it'll be after the Boston game. They probably won't practice Sunday. That'll probably be their travel home, but then they have Monday off. It's a regular Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday week. Monday should be the day where they make that power play day.
Yeah.
We have a question about the power play that I want to get to when we get into our mailbag, but it's very much along the lines of what we think is going wrong with this power play. I also want to point out Jayden Struble was really rough in this one again. The first goal of the game is a 2-on-1 early. I think I think a lot of times the Canadians give up a lot of odd man rushes. And I know everyone kind of hums and haws about that, but they don't recognize that the reason those odd man rushes are being created are exactly the same reason that the Canadians are successful offensively, which
Yes.
their defensemen are jumping up in the play and they're making plays and they're keeping offensive zone possession alive by pinching in. With that said, 2-on-1, Struble's in the right spot and somehow just doesn't make a play. I don't understand what happened. I don't even think it was a saucer pass that got over to the other player, to Zucker. I just thought he just didn't make the play he needed to. And then on I believe it was their third goal, Struble just had a fantastic seat for that one, just watching the play develop in front of him. I'm kind of done with this player. I'll be honest with you. I know I'm saying this while I'm wearing a Kirkland signature shirt, but put Arber Xhekaj back in the lineup and leave him there for a while. I don't get it.
I don't understand why they've been playing Struble repeatedly when Arber Xhekaj has been playing much better consistently over the last few weeks. And to be honest, over the whole season. I feel like Jayden Struble has not done what Arber Xhekaj has done this season, which is not to say that Arber Xhekaj has been perfect or even excellent. I just think he's been much better than Struble.
Yeah, and I think I want to talk about the Canadiens trade deadline plans. We talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it until the trade deadline happens, but I wonder if there's a move to be made to bolster their defense, especially that bottom pair. I just don't think it's been strong enough. Any other players that stood out, efforts, trends that you saw in this one?
I felt like the offense was overly quiet. I don't know if it was just because the Sabres got the better of them for the first 25 minutes of the game. But it's interesting because as a team, I felt they played really well in the second and third period. Just overall, I felt like the passes were connecting. I felt like the communication was great. The chemistry was great. I really enjoyed watching the Canadians in those two periods. It's just unfortunate that they I don't know, they just allowed Buffalo too much rain in that first period.
Yeah, I think again, a lot of it is the Canadians are a team that are going to push the pace offensively. That's going to burn them from time to time, right? And we have to get comfortable with the fact that that's going to be a growing pain for this team. It's fun and it's cute now because they're scoring and they're one of the best offensive teams in the league. They're also one of the worst defensive teams in the league.
They need to
So
tighten that up.
they need to tighten that up, even if it comes at the cost of a few scoring opportunities here or there. I think Phil Deneau said it in the first intermission interview on TSN. He said we rolled the dice too much. We took too many of those chances, like the Lane Hudson one. Love Lane Hudson. I'd rather see him making these plays than not. But he makes a pinch, he gets beat, they go back the other way and they score. Especially early in periods, taking that risk, right? Like the first goal of the game was on the first shot. The third goal of the game was the first shot of the second period. It's tough to settle into a period or a game when you're getting burned immediately.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for this team to find ways to come back. I also thought, interestingly, no points for Slav in this one and no points for Hudson in this one.
Yeah.
I want to know what the record is with the Canadians when Hudson doesn't score or find the score sheet in some way, because I feel like that is emblematic of a Canadians effort that is not really going anywhere. If he's not finding the score sheet, they're probably in some trouble.
And I think that's why, like, the feeling that I got was that the offense was quiet because those two were quiet.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're the two goals in this game were created by the first line. If they're doing that most nights, the Canadians will have depth to be able to help. And I thought the third line was really good. I thought the second line was good in pieces. They had a hard time putting the whole thing together. Thought it was a quiet night from Kapanen. Slavkovsky and Demidov were trying, and Kapanen just couldn't find himself in position. And I thought the fourth line played okay too. So, I think this one is just a matter of the Canadiens, the first 25 minutes of the game, their heads were not on right. The Caufield goal brought them back into it, but they just, going up against Buffalo, who is now 21-1-0 when leading after 40 minutes, you're just in a really tough spot. It's tough for anybody to come back against this team, even this Montreal Canadiens team who comes back against everybody. All right, we'll leave that there. When we come back, we turn to you for the mailbag. We'll look at the trade deadline and predict some moves that maybe Montreal will make. And we'll continue to talk about officiating because it continues to be a story every night for the Canadiens. We'll get into that in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Here's how it'll work. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like, instead of forcing you to bet something that maybe you don't want to. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then you apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. And we're back. Thank you for making Locked On Canadiens your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You'll get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Canadiens. It's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. You'll also get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. I'm Discord literate, so come hang out with me there. Go to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, Laura, let's head to our mailbag. Let's hit this first question. This one comes to us from Jay. Jay asks, let's play a game. It's currently January 2026, and the trade deadline for this season is March 6, 2026. You've just quantum leaped into Kent Hughes' mind and body, and now you're calling the shots. What moves are you making to try and improve this team heading into the playoffs? What players, prospects, or picks are you moving out? And who are you realistically trying to bring in with these moves? Laura, what are your thoughts? I know yesterday we kind of talked about this, and you were very big on the Canadiens staying out of the trade deadline fray, right? You don't really want too much to do with that right now. But let's just say between now and the trade deadline, if there's a move that Kent Hughes can make, and you're in that position to pull the trigger on that move, what are you doing?
You have to get rid of some of these players that they have. They have too many players.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you alluded to Jayden Struble earlier, and I'll let you take that one. But they have a lot of forwards. They don't really. I feel like they can't really decide how to deploy people if they have too many people. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to say Marty should just sit this guy or should have a rotation or what. But if you have two guys that could do two totally different things against a particular opponent, like it overcomplicates things. And so for me, I think that there's some conversations to be had about the bottom six.
Yeah, I think so too. I know Francois Gagnon had today that the Canadiens are looking for a home for Patrick Laine. They're trying to move that player, which makes sense. It makes sense from a salary cap standpoint. I believe the Canadiens would need to make some kind of move in order to activate Alex Newhook. So that's not as urgent, but it's coming. Laine, everyone keeps saying they need to take him off LTIR. I don't think what Puckpedia has on that is accurate. From what Arpon Basu was saying, the Canadiens have never put Patrick Laine on long-term injured reserve, so they don't have to activate him. So they need to figure that out. But you mentioned Jayden Struble. I think if Kent Hughes, if you gave him truth serum right now and said, what are you trying to do to improve your hockey team? I think one of the things he would say is he would love to add a veteran third pairing defenseman. That has been a struggle all year. They're trying to find something that works. They, they want to find someone with size that they feel comfortable playing late in the playoffs, late in games. I mean, Jayden Struble, if he played 2 shifts in the third period, I'd be shocked. And that's the truth as well with Arbor Xhekaj. Xhekaj doesn't play a ton in these late game moments when the Canadiens are in games. So I think that's what I would be looking to do. As far as like what picks and prospects, like I'm not moving anybody with a name that we would all go, hey, don't touch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if trading Jayden Struble and a 5th gets you a type of guy who can play maybe this year and next year in that bottom 6 role and just solidify that and play a playoff style defense, I think the Canadiens would be all over that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think we want to avoid the big swings, right? I'm not going after Artemi Panarin. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing anything like that. But if the Canadiens can tinker around the edges and reinforce the core instead of adding a core piece for no reason, I think that's what they would most likely be trying to do.
When it comes to rearranging the core, I think the Canadiens are going to look more to the summer to do that.
Yeah, and Jeff Gorton has said as much, that they target this summer as one where they can sort of be more active from a trade and UFA perspective. It's hard to imagine them more active on a trade perspective in the summer when it seems like every summer they make some kind of move where we go, that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what they have cooked up for us.
I think they are going to see what the Canadiens do when it comes to the postseason. If they make it, if they win, and then act accordingly.
Yeah. Interesting one here from Pi Pro on Blue Sky. Where do Michkov and Reinbacher get selected in a redo of the 2023 draft? Are they both out of the top 10? Let's do a quick refresher on the 2023 NHL entry draft. And I'll just read players and you tell me if you would take Reinbacher or Michkov ahead of this person. So top of the draft, Connor Bedard. That's an easy one. No. For both players, no. Leo Carlsson out in Anaheim. Also
no.
Adam Fantilli in Columbus.
No.
Also no. Those guys, all 3 home run picks.
Yes.
Fantastic job. Will Smith out in San Jose.
No.
I'm also saying no. He's been really good. Then you have David Reinbacher at 5. Then you have Dmitry Simashev out in it was Arizona, now Utah. That's maybe a player I would take both these guys over.
Yeah.
So maybe Michkov jumps up there, but then you've got like Ryan Leonard out in Washington. I think at this point I'd rather have Ryan Leonard.
Yeah.
Nate Danielson out of Detroit. Not sure about that one. Dalibor Dvorsky, Tom Willander, Daniel Boot, Zach Benson, who we just watched. Maybe he's probably
Zach Benson higher. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, we've got a bunch. There's still a bunch of guys who have not played any games in the first round. There's still guys like most of them have played less than 50 games. Only 3 second rounders have played games. So like it's still very early for this. I would like to at least get to 2028 before we start redrafting drafts. That's 5 years. Give everybody a chance to settle.
Yeah.
But
I get that. I get the question though. I get that.
Yeah,
I get that we're
sure.
frustrated that David Reinbacher hasn't made the NHL yet. There was no rush on him. He's also, I think a lot of people think he's injury prone, but I don't necessarily agree with this. Like he has had 2 major long-term injuries. I don't think that means he's, made of glass or anything like that. And Matvei Michkov, I feel like personally, I think he's going to be streaky. Like I don't think that, I know it's not going great right now, but I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that's a streaky scorer. So it's going to take a little bit more time, but I completely understand the reason for the question and the sentiment behind it.
Yeah. I have a quick question for the two of us as we head into our second break here. The Canadiens game ended on Thursday night with a one-timer from Lane Hudson where his stick exploded.
Yes.
That has been the story of the year for me, is these sticks breaking in the most inopportune times and it costing this team. Are we overreacting, or is there should we actually be mad about what's happening? Because it seems like every player has had a stick explode in a time where they would like to have a stick in one piece.
Yes, I agree. Because the thing with Lane Hudson's stick is not just that it prevented him from scoring, it also prevented him from defending a goal, right? I think the Canadiens really need to look at their equipment, people.
Yeah.
Not the equipment guys.
No, the manufacturers.
Yes, because players choose theirs. This is really important. Players choose their sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, like, the one thing about this where I go, maybe Lane Hudson can help himself by not doing a rafter tickling one-timer or
Yeah.
with slap shot. Like, Lane, like, how much extra juice are you getting on that from that point? Can you just wrist it low and hope for a bounce? Like, I just don't know that it was worth all like, like he was, just really putting everything he had into that puck. That's not to say like it's his fault that his stick broke, but I'm also like, you guys have to understand how cursed your sticks are this year, right? Like maybe just put it in the corner
Yeah.
instead, and maybe the Canadians are playing in overtime by the time we're recording this. But oh well, that happens from time to time. All right, we'll leave that there. When we come back, we'll do some officiating woes, and then we have a fun question from former host of the show, Scott Matla, asking us for our favorite fast food meal that we can build using a transfer price that was actually agreed upon in the Continental Hockey League. And we'll get into that in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. All right, before we get to officiating and fast food and we head off into our weekend, Robert Rice asked, do you ever get the sense that the Habs' power of friendship works against them on the power play? It feels like they all want to give their friend a goal rather than do it themselves. I keep imagining this ongoing dialogue in very poor British accents of, no, good man, after you, I insist. Do you think it does seem like they're trying to pass the puck into the back of the net, right?
Yes. Yes, very much so. I feel like they're kind of prioritizing each other. I feel like it's like the guy is going, okay, well, Cole's better at this, so I'm just going to pass it to Cole. It's like, take the shot, man. Take the shot, right?
Yeah.
Or like Lane Hudson's like, I'm not a goal scorer. I'm going to set someone up. Take the freaking shot.
Yeah. I sort of miss the days where we used to get mad that Mike Matheson would take a wrist shot from the point on the power play that would either hit the glass or go into shin pads. Because right now, I think that wrist shot from the point would be something nobody expects. I think if you just started throwing those on net, you're probably going to just bang in a few more goals. But I do think this is a real thing, that this Canadiens team, I think they kind of they know how good they are at passing the puck. And I think that is a good thing for their confidence and a bad thing for ultimately the end result. Now, I will say the game against Buffalo, nothing worked on the power play. Buffalo gave them fits everywhere, all over the ice. They scored shorthanded. Like, there are more that ails this power play. There's more that ails this power play than just they pass too much, right? Like, I think that's when we're watching them play in the offensive zone and they're buzzing and moving the puck, it's obvious that that's an issue. Somebody just needs to shoot it. Slav becoming that shooter has become kind of funny, because who would have thought that he would be the one to be like, fine, I'll do it. But glad that he is. I would like to see them shoot more. Someone needs to get selfish on that power play. Whoever does it is going to score a ton of goals. So I feel like you could just hold that carrot in front of them and they will get that figured out. All right, a couple of officiating questions here. This one from Jeff the Red. I love the Habs and I really like hockey, but at times the level of officiating makes it hard to watch NHL games, and it can really suck the enjoyment out of it. What should I do to mitigate this? Do you have any help to, I guess, accept what we cannot control, which is officiating?
I like to imagine unfortunate events happening to the officials. I'm not saying murderous things. I'm saying
No.
that guy trips over a Lego. That guy
Yep.
comes home to find his dog has pooped all over the couch. This other guy,
Sure.
that's the kind
Yep.
of thing I wish on these officials, right?
Yeah.
That's what I amuse myself with.
He's
Or
waiting for a delivery and he's at home and they say they knocked and they didn't knock, but they leave and he has to wait another day for his very important package. Like,
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I totally get.
Or like the delivery driver left the food on the front lawn and then the neighbor stole it.
Yeah.
Love that one.
This one from Jack I Face Punch. I am admittedly heated right now. This was sent to us during the game, so this is how upset
This is important.
Jack I Face Punch was. Moments after Bolduc got 4 minutes for seemingly nothing, while Dahlin got 2 for starting it and hitting him good and hard. Of course, we all complain about the refs, but is it possible that the recent officiating has been more detrimental to the Habs than other teams? At what point does this suspicion become legitimate? Now, I will plug our friend Andrew Berkshire, who has an excellent article out for Habs Eyes on the Prize. And every time it's a series. Right now, he's plugging it hard every time there's a dumb call, which I mean, if he does that all the time, they're going to block his account on Blue Sky because it seems seemingly every 20 minutes he could post that article and it would be timely. But the Canadiens generally do not get the same level of officiating as the rest of their division rivals.
He's done the research.
He's done the research. This is not just our feeling. The math bears this out, especially when the Canadiens are trying to come back in games. I think he shared with me that the Canadiens get like 46% of the calls when they are trailing in a game, when the rest of the division averages well over 50%. So it's tough. They're really in tough against the officiating. As far as what point does the suspicion become legitimate? I don't know that any of this is like some grand conspiracy. There's a principle: never ascribe to malice what you can ascribe to incompetence.
Yes.
Like I think that's not to say like these guys are all stupid. I can't stand them. They're in impossible positions. They have to they don't get to take shifts off. They have to be on the ice the whole time. I liked Andrew Berkshire's idea from an episode of Game Over this week, where he was basically like, just give them a referee off the ice who's in an earpiece with them, telling them what's going on, and giving them a bird's eye view, because they can't see everything. They're just two guys. It's at some point we need to understand that the problem with officiating is that the NHL likes the officiating. That's the biggest problem. There's no accountability, and they're all great at their jobs, and none of this is going to change, and suck up and deal with it. Well, that's the NHL's fault. So like, it's easy to blame Eric Furlat for that moment, but there were no tools at Eric Furlat's disposal for him to get that call right. What was he going to do? Call him a major penalty for tripping so they could review it, like they did with Zachary Bolduc on his inadvertent elbow to Zach Benson, which, by the way, they got that call wrong. That should have been a minor penalty on Zachary Bolduc for elbowing. They were like, oh, it's an accident. Oh, the rule doesn't say anything about it being an accident. So that's another challenge in this. So many times they review it and they still get it wrong. You know, like we're in the era of video review. None of this is going back. We're not fixing any of that. Thank you, Matt Duchene, for absolutely nothing, you complete dork. It's not really his fault, but it is entirely his fault. So like, it's just, the NHL's problem is that they put being right over getting it right. That's the challenge. And they have shown no signs of wanting to fix that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Let's go to our pal Scoot Mortla.
We have a YouTube question first.
Oh, yes, do the YouTube question, okay. And then we'll go to Scoot.
This one comes from our friend Paul G. For the mailbag, I don't see where Laine fits, and the Habs need to get tougher. How about these two moves? Laine and Raw for Evander Kane, then Evans and Struble for Boone Jenner. Comments: Kane would allow the Habs to place Blais on waivers as an assurance should they lose him.
I like the second one better, but I don't want to move Jake Evans. I'll be frank. I don't want Evander Kane anywhere near this hockey team.
Same.
That is a dude that seems washed.
And only comes with baggage.
Yeah, I don't think that makes the Canadiens a better team. You can talk me into Boone Jenner a lot.
Yes.
You can talk me into that player. I'd be interested. The price tag is steep, and it ought to be, because he plays a playoff type game. He would make the Canadiens better. So Boone Jenner, I have time for that conversation. I don't know if Columbus would be willing to move him. I know that they're pretty bad right now, but would be interesting to see if he becomes available.
I feel like he's an integral Columbus Blue Jacket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he shouldn't play anywhere else.
Yes.
Like, we talk about players who like would look weird in other places. That would be one where I'm like, hey, you're a Blue Jacket, which is tough to say, right? Because there haven't been a lot of those players. Like Rick Nash was one where you're like, that's a Blue Jacket, and maybe end of list. You know, like it's tough to like picture people as those types of franchise players. He's definitely one of them. All right, should we move on to our final fast food related question?
Yes, and then I have to address the listeners at one point.
Do you have a Steve Staios statement to make?
I have a statement to make.
So in the KHL, a player was transferred for a price of 1,000 rubles, which is approximately $13.05 American. So do the Canadian conversion if you'd like. What Scott asked us, yes, any chain, make your best meal for $13.03.
Okay.
So you have $13.03 to spend, and you have to go to a fast food restaurant. What are you buying?
I'm coming in a little bit under that.
Okay.
So
Me as well. I am
yeah,
also doing that.
I am going to Bojangles. I'm getting a
Terrific.
Cajun chicken biscuit combo. And then I'm getting the cinnamon biscuit after. So I'm getting 2 biscuits and I'm getting Cajun chicken in one. And the other one is like a cinnamon rolled up biscuit. I have not been to Bojangles in maybe 12 years. But I know it's Southern. I have checked. They are not, they're neutral on the political front. But that is where I would go. I know, because I know your answer and you're going to beat me, especially
Yeah.
like, you know, to like
I'm pandering.
yeah, you're pandering.
I'm
But
pandering with mine.
I do know you enjoy yours. So
I do. I very
yes.
much enjoy mine. So I'm
Sorry, mine came
pandering.
in at $11 plus tax.
Mine's $12.95. So I guess I win the Price is Right version of this game where I got the closest without going over.
Yes.
I'm going to Restaurant La Fleur, which if you are a Quebec native, you know what that is. It's a fast food chain regionally to Quebec. The reason I'm taking that, I used to go, as a kid, used to go to Montreal every summer to visit family. And we would always hit that on the way out of town, right? We would always hit that, you'd get a steamy, you get a poutine, and you'd have a wonderful time. And I hadn't had it in, I don't know, 15 years. Like it had been forever. So I take my wife. She had never been to Montreal. I take her. We're literally on our way out of town. And I had a Ratatouille type moment. You know the scene in Ratatouille where the food critic is eating the Ratatouille and he goes back in time to being a boy? That was me. I was sitting in this Le Fleur's nearly like almost emotional that everything was exactly as I remembered it. Everything tasted the same. It smelled the same. It was is it just like, greasy fast food? Yeah, it is. But it's the memory. It was the fact that I was 12 years old again. It was unbelievable. So that's where I'm going. $12.95 at La Fleur's. I'm getting a number 5, a Vipère a poutine trio. So it's a poutine, steamed hot dog, and a soda. And I'm reliving my boyhood years. That's what I'm doing.
Steamy, as we say
Steamy,
here.
yes. On the
Or we
menu, it
call it a
says
steamy,
Vapeur. Yeah.
but it's spelt steamy.
Yeah.
All right, real quick before we go to our trivia, I have a mailbag
Yep.
question for Montreal. What is wrong with everybody? Why are we driving like this? There are 2.2 million people in this city, and none of us know how to drive. I do not understand. Everybody is merging without checking their blind spot. Everybody is backing up without checking their rearview mirror or the camera. There's cameras on most of our cars. I do not understand why every time I leave the house, somebody is in danger of clipping my car. Can we all just calm down? And if you live in Montreal, can you please tell me what the hell is going on? Why are we driving like this? Especially in this weather. Also, on the 20, you should not be going at 140 kilometers an hour. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry. We can do our
I'm
trivia
glad
now.
you're alive. I think this would have been a really different show. I don't think we would have done the fast food answer if you were
if I was dead. I feel
yeah,
like I
if you
text
died
you
in a
once
car
a
accident.
day. I text you
Yeah.
once a day that like someone almost killed me on the road. And I know
Yeah.
I'm not the common denominator because I drive like a grandma.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way, man. I'm a very, us Subaru cross trick drivers. We have to be very safe. We are the ones keeping the social fabric intact.
I agree. I'm just saying, I got a new Subaru last year. My car's a year and like a half. Okay. I'm tired of worrying about somebody hitting me, clipping me, scratching me. One time I was trying to turn left and I had my signal on and somebody was coming behind me at 80 kilometers an hour in a 40 zone. Like, can we please just stop doing
You know
this?
who it was? It was Eric Furlat. Anyway,
He didn't
just
see
had to
me
bring
there.
this. I brought
He
it back
thought
to
I was-
hockey. I brought us back. Glad you got to go
Sorry.
off on that rant. I'm glad you gave us that Steve Stais statement.
Now we
Definitely.
can go to trivia.
Yeah, all the trolls on the road, they have no idea what they're doing. Steve Stais, Laura Saba. All right, let's do our trivia and head out of here for the weekend. Yesterday's question: Cole Caufield's winner against Minnesota came with 15 seconds left in regulation. Who has the Habs' latest regulation game-winning goal all time? Laura, who has that goal?
I don't remember the game or the opponent. I think the opponent might have been the Toronto Maple Leafs, actually.
Correct.
But it was Pierre Turgeon at, what was it, 1959 of the third period.
Correct. It was technically like 0.9 seconds left that he scored against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ted Clare has that one, right? I'll also give David Hendon a shout out. He had the second one. It was Pete Mahavlich who was second at 1958 was his game-winning goal, I believe, also against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So very good, both of you. No one is beating those because it's quite impossible to beat what Turgeon has. So
Cole
today's
Caufield
question
is somewhere saying bet right now.
Yeah, watch. He invents a new time to score a goal. He goes into negative time in regulation, and it somehow counts. This year, Montreal is 9-7-1 versus the Atlantic Division, and it's not possible for them to sweep any of their divisional opponents. How many teams did the Atlantic did Montreal sweep last year? So who were they? I'll give you a hint. They did sweep someone. Who did the Canadiens sweep last year in their own division? If you have the answer, put it in the comments down below this video. Let us know how smart you are. We'll give you a shout out on the next episode of the show. And that is going to do it for us today on this episode of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and making us your first listen of the day, and making sure you keep us being the number one sports podcast network here at Locked On. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Canadiens ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. You can find the show Locked On Canadiens everywhere we're posting things, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok primarily. If you want to get a mailbag question in, the best place to send it to us, lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. Also, we love to get just nice mail from you guys. We had some really kind words about our Heated Rivalry bonus episode. We really enjoyed that. So thank you for sending those in and just keeping us humble here. We do appreciate you guys here on the show. You can find me at Maybe It's Ian. You can find Laura at The Actor Stick. If you live in the central United States, please be careful this weekend. We're getting a massive storm, the likes of which we have never seen. So please be careful. And we hope to see you back here on Monday. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.